Hello and welcome to Third Act Film, where today we're going to be discussing remakes we would like to see. I'm Todd James, and here with me today is James Forbes.
Hello.
Alright, James, your first suggestion please.
This is what inspired this whole idea for me.
Oh, okay.
Reign of Fire.
Right, okay.
One, that is one of the best names for anything ever.
Sure.
That is an awesome name. Because you can't have, like, Reign of the Flame. Or Reign of Hot Weather.
Right.
Or, Reign of Fire. You're like, oh my. I couldn't live under that. You don't want to be rained by fire. And it's...
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't.
Name aside, dragons in London, and it's this kind of futuristic, but in the past, kind of everything's been destroyed. Well, it's kind of in the past because everyone's had to live in castles again,
Right.
because it's the only thing that defends you against
dragons.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And that kind of the population's depleted. The whole journey to the centre of London to try and kill the mother dragon and stuff like that.
Spoilers.
Well, it's the premise of the film.
Good point.
I absolutely loved it. I loved the film. It could have had a really stellar cast in it. You had Matthew McConaughey's in it, and he's like crazy bald man.
Right.
Punches people around. You have
Sure.
Gerald Butler in it.
Gerard Butler.
Even.
Sure.
And a few other actors who I'm missing.
Isn't Christian Bale in it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's wow.
That's good. I mean, I haven't seen it for years. I saw it on TV like 3 years later.
It was 2002, yeah.
Wow, that's older than I thought as well.
Yeah.
They also made a terrible video game based on it.
Yeah. I'm just like, bring it back. That is awesome. Dragons in modern day, you can kind of... Everyone loves end of the world stuff. We're all obsessed with it.
Especially with Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah.
Dragons are like an all-time popularity.
And I could see it as a bigger... If you made it a more international event, you start off with the UK, and then possibly go over to America, where they've got more guns.
Right.
And then you go to other places of the world, and then eventually, like, trying to get back the Earth.
Yeah.
And then you could have, like, the last one, the Reign of Humans. Maybe not. Don't leave the name title. Whoever made that name up, get him back.
He's just sitting there on piles of millions and millions of dollars like, it's a good job I thought of that film title. Yeah.
Yeah. But literally, I just, loved the film and would love to see it come back.
Yeah. Something linking nicely into my first suggestion, that is something as well that could seriously benefit from being made today. And speaking of which, my first suggestion is one no one will have heard of, Hawk the Slayer.
Who?
Exactly. Hawk the Slayer is a really bad, but so bad it's good, fantasy film.
Yeah.
I don't know what year it was made, but it's just about...
Apparently 1980.
1980. You just pulled it off the top of your head, did you?
Yeah.
So it's about this, fabled hero, Hawk the Slayer, and he gathers together a team of people. There's like a giant, an elf, like a magic person, and they have to... It's like the most standard fantasy plot ever.
Yeah.
But it's so bad, it's good. And if they either made it self-aware so bad it's good, or if they seriously made it as a good film, that it's also like the best part about this film that they have to include when they're doing like traveling shots.
Yeah.
Like instead of having like epic sweeping shots of countryside, they'll have them like ride past in this like crappy little forest, which is definitely in Surrey.
Yeah.
And then like as the camera pans across, then there's just like a snake there to show you that, or like a chameleon on a branch to show you how exotic it is. What a great film.
I think this would make more sense to me if I'd even heard of the word hawk and slayer in the same sentence, let alone heard of the film.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the poster now. It looks ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it looks... Why is he holding a sword like that?
Because you always hold swords at two ends.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's it is one of those things where I love it. No one else knows it. It has the most incredible music ever.
Okay.
It's awful. It's so everything about it is awful. Let's have it again.
But more self-aware and
Yeah.
going at it. Bit
Yeah.
like, what was that one with, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Highness.
Your Highness, James
Your Highness,
Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a huge flop. Just make it cheap though. Make it real cheap.
Okay. All right, moving on, because I have nothing to say about that, to be honest. 'Cause
Good.
I've never heard of it.
I'm glad.
One that you would have heard of.
Okay.
Lost in Space.
Oh right, yeah.
It's like the family, they all go in space, and then
The
they get
robot with the
lost.
big wavy arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the one in, I forget what year, like 2000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, there was one.
That one, and it had Joey from Friends
Yeah, I was
in.
about to say.
He was in a film.
Matt LeBlanc. Yeah.
What the hell? And that was a pretty good film, actually. I remember enjoying that. I would love to see that again. The technology at the time, it was like, I remember his helmet would like, you remember this? It would like
No.
stutter on,
Right.
and it was like a shell, and then it like was now a helmet, and he would wear it around his neck as like a bracelet. And I was just
A
like,
bracelet around his neck.
bracelet.
Interesting.
A necklace, and then
Right.
it would come. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. And then you had the little CGI monkey in it for no reason.
Right. I haven't seen this.
So you haven't seen it at all?
No.
Oh, okay. And then the villains in it were these little spider robot things. And at the time, the CGI was like, oh my god, you have a CGI character? That's insane.
Right.
But imagine, like, today's technology, you were like, oh, what? Like, none of the cast were real. I didn't even realise, with the technology like Fast and Furious 7 recently.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it again. I think it's a great story. You can just do the same story, but just with better technology. Job done. That's Yang. Let's get Ridley Scott to do it.
Sure.
Why not?
Why not? Would you have it being kind of a comedy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not Ridley Scott then.
Yeah, I was just about to say. Never has there been a more serious man.
Yeah. Even The Martian, you could tell all of the comedy came from
The book.
A, having comedy actors, and B, from the book and from the screenwriting.
Yeah.
Just...
I'd be up for that. I mean, I have literally zero emotional attachment to either the original or the.
I think that's
more
what
recent film.
comes important. There were certain things I've seen on other websites. They're like, let's do a remake of the Gremlins. You're like, no, that was the whole point of the Gremlins. It looked a
Even
bit
though
crap.
that's definitely going to happen more than any of our suggestions today.
But it looked a bit crap, and it worked, and it's funny, and it still works today.
That's what I've said about Hawk the Slayer. That's it. That's what makes it so good.
But can they make a crap film today? No. Well, they can make crap films.
Oh, the time.
We wouldn't have a website or YouTube channel if they did. Like,
you're right.
Just like every review, like perfect yet again, Hollywood.
Well done. Yeah, I'd be up for that. All right.
Go on,
I have another.
one.
This is kind of similar to my last one.
It's not obscure again,
It's
is it?
so obscure.
Oh no.
Okay, but I think more people will know this one. The Dark Crystal. You don't know it again. Okay, so the Dark Crystal again. I don't know the year.
Up?
I'm not making it up, but you're going to look it up for me.
It's not the Dark Knight.
I'm sure it's not the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. Right.
The Dark Crystal.
Right. So I think it's 80s again, and it was a film.
Looks like Labyrinth.
Yeah, it's kind of it's that era, and it's
82. Yeah.
82, right? And it's puppets.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh, I've heard of this. Jim Henson, the guy who does Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of this. A lot of people love it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just
you can't. Yeah. Who's today's Jim Henson? There isn't one.
John Lasseter,
I don't know who that is.
the guy behind Pixar.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yeah, and it's just the kind of thing. All those old like 80s fantasy puppet films. I think they are all kind of prime because that was right before. Well, not right before, but before CGI really kind of took off and became a thing.
Yeah.
And they are all kind of
still practical.
And this is kind of one of the better ones for me, like with a good story and interesting characters and stuff that could really, and unfortunately it does have a silly fancy name, The Dark Crystal, but
that would still work today.
Yeah. If fantasy was a remotely popular genre, I think it could really. It would just it's just like prime for me. Not a lot of people know what it is. but it does have a core fan base. It's been a good amount of time, and it would really benefit from it. The same thing I've said about 8 times in a row now. Okay, again, I'm guessing you have little to nothing to add to this suggestion.
I've only loosely heard of it, and
right.
There's a lot of respect for it, so
yeah,
why not?
All right. Don't worry, my third one you will definitely have heard of.
Okay. I've still got 2 more. FYI.
Okay.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. I think with today's technology, I know they've done kind of similar stories with
Clash of the
Titans and that, but let's forget about that, okay? If you imagine having Christian Bale as Jason,
it worked really well with Exodus.
I
know that's a different thing, but
that's a different thing.
Similar, really.
It's similar. They're all kind
swords
of like
and sandals.
Yeah,
it's all the same. Bible, Greek mythology. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree so much. There have been a couple of attempts at doing big Greek mythology stories, and it's never really worked
because there's none of the important directors or studios really backing it. They're just doing it as a there's not
this could be the
on
new
the
Pirates of the Caribbean.
But they still don't even have big names in it. If you had a big name, I think it would work better.
Yeah, and take it seriously as well.
Yeah.
Proper look at the mythology. Actually, no, you have to ignore some of the mythology because it gets pretty weird.
It does, yeah.
Like that swan that raped somebody. That happened. Greek mythology, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Was that Swan Zeus? Because he does that all the time.
Yeah, it was Swan Zeus. He once pretended to be the sea and got a woman pregnant. Pretty slick, that Zeus. He's got moves. Right.
Oh,
yeah, I'd be well up for that.
Cool.
Yeah,
all
right. That's it. My final one. Okay, as promised, you know this film, The Wizard of Oz.
Wow, you're not allowed to.
Sorry, why not?
Mate. Even it's not Disney who are doing the Oz.
Disney did the James Franco, The Wiz or whatever it was called.
The Wiz.
The Wiz is so bad.
That's a different film.
Yeah, whatever the.
Oz,
the Great and Powerful. Oz the Great and Powerful. That's what it was.
Even Disney were like, "Well, we ain't touching that."
Well, it's because Disney can't.
It's an absolute classic.
Yeah, perfect.
It's an absolute.
It's gonna
classic.
happen. Let's do it. Let's take it seriously.
Oof.
So get Jack Black in as the lion. I don't know.
Really good.
Jim Carrey as the Scarecrow.
That'll be. Well, Jim Carrey wouldn't do it. He'd be like, "I'm against violence." So
this script is far too violent. like just throwing it back in a studio face. What can I say that I haven't said about Hawk the Slayer and the Dark Crystal? They could really
classic,
do something special with this if they didn't.
It is. They re-released it in IMAX and it did really well. It did better.
I saw it. I saw
it. Yeah, it did better than films that were new with better technologies.
Yeah, but what else was out in IMAX at that time? Jack Ryan. But
it still did really well, and it was only out.
Exactly. There's the interest is there. It's been 76 years.
I think you need 100-year gap. That film was huge.
What better way to celebrate the
100th year?
The 100 years, yeah. I think it could be really good. Get rid of some of the silly aspects of it, like those. Or just update them. Like the bit where she sees those trees who throw apples at her.
Yeah,
that's a weird scene. That bit's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Because if it was a Disney property,
right,
and they own the full rights and they redid it, I would probably be more on board because they've shown that they can. With Cinderella most recently. But who does own it? It's Warner Brothers, isn't it?
I don't actually know off the top of my head, but it's
whoever owns
it's one of those things where the actual story is
widely available.
Public
domain.
Public domain. That's it.
That's why Disney are allowed to do their kind of interpretation of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But for the do an actual straight remake. Yeah, and make it a musical. What's happened to the musical in recent years? Pan's not a musical.
They sing 2 songs in it.
Yeah, and it's terrible. Yeah.
Anyway, moving
All right.
on.
Give me your last one.
Dune.
Oh my god! How did I not think of that?
Yeah.
Oh my god! But yes.
Yeah.
Explain. Come on.
Explain.
I'm
it's
convinced.
Great.
But, yeah.
It's like a great story.
Yeah.
It's they've just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the book this year.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
How did I not think of that?
And it's spectacular. It's Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. It's the ultimate sci-fi story. It's what everything is based off pretty much nowadays. Mm-hmm. So
the Dune, it's been floating around as well for ages. A remake,
and it's always like the film, the Frank Herbert film. Is that one?
I don't know. I couldn't.
No, what's the author? I forget. But anyway, the film, the 1980s film, not so great. Then they did a sci-fi.
The film's all right.
It's okay, but it's
bloated.
Yeah.
Well,
it's difficult, isn't it?
Have you seen the book?
The book is huge.
You could build houses out of
and
those.
he did 3 of them. And it's like the first book was huge.
Yeah.
And he didn't mess around.
Yeah.
So when you come to, we got to cram all of this into film, I would love to see it as them taking it, maybe doing 6 films, 2 films per book. Mm. Possibly. I don't know.
Or, as you just sort of said then before I so rudely interrupted, there was a TV series of it, which I never saw.
The TV series is really good. Right. Actually, you've got, who's the one who plays Professor X?
Patrick Stewart.
No, the other one.
James McAvoy.
Patrick
Stewart's in the original film as well.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mind blown.
But, you got James McAvoy in it. He's really good in it. But they kind of, they did Dune and then they did Children of Dune as well. Right. And they kind of merged the Messiah of Dune into the storyline of Children of Dune. But it all works. And it's really good. Really good story to do. And you can go on to, because the author of Dune, he died and his son took over and wrote some more stories.
No way.
Yeah.
Right.
However, it's kind of universally agreed they're not as good. Right. But his father told him, this is where it's all leading to and this is what I want to do. So he knew what the main outline was, and then the kind of nitty-gritty he had to fill in, and it's not as good. But you can still have someone else jump onto that. We're talking 9, 12 films in this Dune universe.
The Dune-verse.
I think it's so grand. The only worry I have, similar to the film John Carter, when you have a film that's so... I'm to my voice.
Vibrato.
When it's so... inspirational to so many other franchises, and then they all come out. Then you watch, a film like John Carter, or if they do a remake of Dune, you're like, I've seen all of this. It's like, because they based it on this, they ripped this off, not the other way around. But yeah,
my one thing, and you inspired me to say this at the start. I think it suits a TV show better because there's so much. Imagine so much, a Game of Thrones quality production
of Dune. Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah.
But
make it for adults as well.
Yeah.
Because there's some nasty stuff in Dune. And also, don't let Sting be in it.
Yeah, that's the first rule.
Yeah.
No Sting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have him be like the father who then... maybe.
Stop trying to force him in.
Okay, no Sting. All right. Well, have you guys got any suggestions for remakes?
And what do you think of our suggestions? Hate all of mine? Perfect.
We kind of... You went all the way to the 80s. And I was kind of like, I'm going to do 2000s.
I know.
And then I went down to the 80s. But if there's any suggestions that you have, if you have any suggestions for us for future topics for us to discuss, the email is here. hello@thirdactfilm. I'm not just saying hello.
Hello.
Hello. hello@thirdactfilm.com. And we'll do a video about it.
Yeah, you can leave suggestions in the comment section as well.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Bye. Yeah, if they had, actors in those
had
parts.
Actors in the film.
I think they made the best film possible out of the source material.
Okay.
3 stories, all just from different parts of the world.
And different time points as well.